We were talking off air, AJ, and we were just more or less saying, is this the end for Marlon Moraes? He's a little chinny. And you were kind of saying, well, I hope so for his health and his well being. And when you have to start thinking about long term aspects of a fighter's health and well being, you know something's not going right there. But let's talk about Song Yadong first. Lightning, fast, hands, combinations all day long. He was digging for that uppercut early in the first round. He finally caught him after he hit him right behind the ear, my man. Slightly the back of the head, slightly, right? But I guess we won't count that. What do you make of that knockout? And how far does this catapult a Song Yadong up the rankings right now? Obviously, he beats number 10, but this performance was, this was Corey Sandhagen-esque, the way that he just got him out there. Boom, just like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm glad you caught on to that uppercut at the beginning because he was looking for that all night. He must have saw something in film that said Marlon drops down looking for that because it was a beautiful, beautiful uppercut. And even there was a couple in there that got him, but that last one that put Marlon Moraes out was absolutely on the button. And yeah, like you said, Derek, something magic about that chin of Marlon Moraes that just draws fists and knees and everything else right to it. It's unfortunate for him. I think this catapults Song Yadong up pretty good, man. I mean, it's having a notch on your belt like Marlon Moraes is still, even though he's kind of fallen off later in his career as it is now, it's still a hell of a cap, man. This dude and the way that Song Yadong went about it, pressuring on, not letting Marlon start, not letting Marlon kind of get into his flow. No kicks at all, basically, for the most part. I can't even remember one. Definitely no head kicks at all coming out of the Moraes camp. But either way, Song was just so much on his own fight that I think this bodes well for all the future fights he's going to have, man. That's why I think he jumps up a lot. If he's not, what is he? What's he ranked right now? If he's
14.
not, if he's not top 10, I think he's going to be fighting in that.
Yeah, so he's 14 right now. I will say Marlon Moraes, he was able to throw at least one of those patented left head kicks. He was able to throw and land one of those, but inside the fury of Song Yadong, he was just too fast, and that's what I was talking about on the preview show. That's why I didn't like Moraes in this spot, is because the speed is just, like, this is the same thing that I saw against Casey Kenny. The speed was just too much for him to handle. Moraes needs to plant and land, or plant and throw to land. For Song Yadong, he's hitting you with 3-4 shots by the time you even get to that point, right? So this was a quick start, and I do agree. The quick start of Song Yadong, I think, propelled this victory to not going 2-3 rounds because the moment that it said, all right, fighters, let's go, Song Yadong was in the center of the cage already, like, putting it on him, throwing combinations off the bat. So no warm-up, straight to the action. Sometimes it doesn't work in favorable for them, but at the end of the day, he got the job done. Now my question to you is, do you think if Marlon Moraes does stick around somehow, some way in the UFC, even though he has now lost 4 consecutive fights via knockout, man, so this is never a good spot, do you think we start to see more of a grappling-intensive Marlon Moraes? Does he switch up things, or do you say, well, you have to stick with what got you to the dance in the first place? We make this argument all the time. I do think that I see a case for Moraes switching it up a little bit, maybe not coming out as predictable. We know you want to throw the head kick. We know you want to throw big bombs. Let's switch it up a little bit. What do you think?
I see a case for what you're talking for because Marlon Moraes definitely needs a new coat of paint. He needs something else. Now, going up to the 45-pound class, going down 25, I don't really know if either of those are – that's usually the quick fix for that new coat of paint. But I think Marlon Moraes definitely needs to get to some ground game and maybe do what the opposite of everyone else is doing, where we always say that the grapplers have fallen in love with their hands. Mm-hmm. I think Marlon Moraes needs to fall in love with that ground game. Yeah. So that way people start worrying about that. And then he starts landing those big strikes like he can.
I could be crazy, but I do think Moraes is like a jiu-jitsu black belt. Forgive me if I'm mistaken on that one, folks, but I do think so. So it's just surprising when you see fighters like that who just don't use their jiu-jitsu, don't use their grappling. They just want to knock you out. And I respect it if it works, because it worked for him this whole entire time until you get to the very top tier. And Song Yadong is clearly proving that he is capable of being in that top tier or hanging with the top tier at the very least. Now, I think recent history, AJ, has kind of painted Song Yadong in a little different light than maybe we should have. I think recent history has shown us that, Song Yadong, he's got a draw, he's got a recent loss on his record. He might not be that guy. But if you take like a macro view, if you zoom out a little bit, he is now 8-1-1 in the UFC, and this is his first 3+ fight win streak since 2017. So he wasn't streaky, but now you're back up on that streak. Now look at the record in the UFC. That's what really counts, man. Overall, this dude's got an impeccable record. I mean, Song Yadong, we're looking at what? Now 19-5-1, and then, like I said, 8-1-1 in the UFC. That's what it's about right there. So I think Song Yadong is up for a very promising future. I mean, at this point, he's a bona fide contender, like bona fide at this point. So do you think that the next fight, which he calls out Dominic Cruz, he says that's who he wants next. He wants to fight Dominic Cruz. He wants to go after the legends. Everybody wants to. Obviously, you know, Dominic Cruz, what's he going to say? No, I'm not fighting down. I only want to fight up. But being that he's on this trajectory, man, I just want future take so we could pull this back, you know, months in advance or months in the future or whatnot. Do you see Song Yadong with a UFC gold strap around his waist at any point in the next 3 years? Yeah. What do you think?
It's hard, man, because of the lack of grappling we've seen, you know? Like, if we can see him go up against because he has that loss to Kyler Phillips, so there's potential for him to lose even against strikers, but even Kyler Phillips is amazing on the ground. And going back to what you say, Marlon Moraes is a BJJ black belt against under Ricardo Almeida, so Marlon Moraes has the ground game skills, but with a fighter like Song Yadong, he's not able to utilize it. And I think that's Yadong's best course of action is not allowing the jiu-jitsu guys to get that wrestling game going, the ground game going, but can he do it against the top, man, the elite of the elite? You know, we're talking in the bantamweight division. You have Sandhagen, Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz, Merab Dvalishvili, all these wrestlers up here that are just going to the second year on that front foot, putting that that pressure on. They're going to shoot, man. They're going to be able to take you down. Aljo's up there as well. And even a striker like Piotr Jan, dude, even though we do hold him acclaimed as a striker, he's able to get the wrestling going with those trips and stuff, use your momentum against you. In the next 2 to 3 years, not necessarily at the moment that I see Song Yadong fighting, man. I think he needs to develop just a little bit more, maybe defensive wrestling or ground game, or however you want to phrase it, and then we can see kind of an evolution of Song Yadong. What about you? Do you see him holding gold?
Well, the beauty of it is that we don't have to make it the next 3 years, because even if he doesn't make it, he's only 24 years old, bro. So like, I do see it in the future. I see it at some point in the future, whether he has to wait it out, get some of these heavy grapplers out of the way. The man does have 3 submission wins on his record, but I agree with what you're saying. When you look at who he's beaten, it is not like Marlon Moraes. This is by far the biggest victory of his career thus far. So Marlon Moraes, Julio Arce, Casey Kenny, Chito Vera. He has a draw to Cody Stamen, who is a incredible wrestler. So it goes to show you he has some chops. Win over Vince Morales, Alejandro Perez, so on and so forth. But I do see bright things in the future for Song Yadong. I don't know how much brighter it can get because he's shining pretty damn bright right now. Big win for him. We wish the best for Marlon Moraes, though, man. 4 knockouts in a row. We need to start reassessing some things for real. But